Mr. Critchley, let me kick this off with you. Penultimate day has wound up. Are you ready to stick your neck out? Do we know how this is going?
No, I think one of the most remarkable features of this election is that the polls are a black box. I don't actually believe that the polling is split as evenly as the poll reports show. I believe that's the data they're collecting and interpreting. I don't believe that actually reflects the situation. So in terms of sticking my neck out, I guess I would go so far as to say whoever wins, I think they will win convincingly. And if I'm forced to choose, I would say it looks to me like Kamala Harris is going to win, just because of all of the signs apart from these evenly divided polls, which show such tremendous enthusiasm for her, and individual indications like the Des Moines Register poll, which has taken the US political world by storm, which shows her gaining something like 14 points, I think, in the last month or so, and apparently being a few points ahead of Donald Trump in a state he was universally expected to win.
All right, but where's that logic coming from? What has she done right in the 3 months that she's had that Hillary Clinton could not get right?
Oh, I think there's a really dramatic contrast here. And I had at least a look at the inside of the Hillary Clinton campaign just by helping out for a short while during the primary and then during the general election. No important role there, just sort of pitching in and helping out. But it did give me something of an inside look at the campaign. And I had lots of objections to the way that campaign was run, starting with her core message and the way she presented herself. In contrast, I think, and many other political professionals think, that the Kamala Harris campaign is one of the best presidential campaigns they've ever seen. I wholeheartedly agree with that. I think there's very little she or her campaign staff have done wrong. It's really been extraordinary.
Mr. Critchley, it's a trend and it's not only limited to the United States. What is making elections far more virulent? Because if you hear the conversation, we are being told the options are between a racist, immigrant hater, fascist, de facto neo-Nazi versus a communist totalitarian. Is this just election rhetoric, or do certain sets of voters on both sides actually believe all of this?
Oh, they certainly believe it. The depiction of Donald Trump as at least wannabe fascist, I think, is just based on his own constantly repeated statements. You don't need any interpretation or spin from the Democratic side, or what I think of as the pro-democracy side, because it also includes a great many Republicans and independents. And it's also demonstrated by his actions, first of all, in literally trying to overthrow the election on January 6, 2021. And for months and months leading up to that, it was a very organized effort to subvert democracy. What's driving it, I would say, though, and this is something that is still not widely understood, is that this is not a contest between the normal left and right in a normal liberal democracy. This is a contest between one group of people who believe in liberal democracy still, which includes conservatives and concludes liberals on the left, and people who do not. And some of them are intellectuals who believe they have very good reasons for thinking that liberal democracy needs to come to an end, and we need an authoritarian system where the Christian God, for example, or their particular version of the Christian God, is the ultimate source of authority, not the vote of the people in a liberal democracy. Others are ethnic nationalists and believe that people they define as real Americans are the only true Americans, and so liberal pluralism has to go, and America has to serve as, again, what they think of as true Americans. So that's in direct contrast to liberal democracy, which the United States was founded on to be the world's first liberal democracy.
Is there a middle ground? Because elections happen all over the world, and yes, the rhetoric, sometimes gets a bit much, and we take it with a pinch of salt, and then the elections conclude as they will in the next 24 hours. Is there a middle ground to move on to, that there is a healing touch that will come our way a few hours from now?
No, and this is something that I addressed recently in a TEDx talk, if you don't mind me promoting it a little bit, called The War of the Worldviews. The people who are in conflict with each other in the United States and in many other countries around the world don't have a middle ground because they define reality differently. They define truth differently. They define what's morally right differently. So there's no negotiating if one person defines truth according to a completely different standard from another person. You cannot even agree on what's true, which we see every day here in the United States. And as I say, we see that happening in countries around the world. And you cannot agree on how to decide what's morally right. For example, if you believe that America should be a theocracy, a Christian theocracy, which many Trump supporters do, to you it's idiotic and sinful to have sinful human beings deciding how to run the country. What should be determining what happens ultimately is God's law. There is no middle ground between those two positions. Now, I would say liberalism is the only system that humanity has ever come up with that accommodates such different viewpoints, but everybody has to agree to live within liberalism. If one side has decided they want to tear down liberalism, then you have the very serious problem that we are facing in the United States, and that, as I say, many other countries are facing around the world right now as well.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.